talk this morning, amen?
Yes, amen.
It's a blessing to be able to feel this morning. It's a blessing to be able to touch this morning, amen?
Amen.
It's just a blessing that God has allowed us to come together again because somebody didn't wake up this morning.
Absolutely.
Somebody thought they was laying down last night and thought they was going to come to church or get up and do something else, but guess what? They didn't wake up this morning. So we ought to be thankful that God has allowed us to come together one more time, amen? You know, it's truly a blessing to see my brother in the house. He's one of our barbers at our Oakland location. And to see all the kids, I mean, that's the next generation. And you know, I remember when God was calling me out to preach. He called me a long time, and I was running. And when I finally answered my call, I remember going to the school to pick my son up from elementary school, and I told him I was called to preach. And I'm just nervous and scared, like, man, I'm about to go ahead and do this. And when I went home, I was just crying, and I'm asking the Lord, like, why did you choose me? Like, let me do what I want to do. You know, I wanted to still do what I do. And I looked up and I'm just praying, like, why did you choose me? As soon as I asked that, a lot of the kids in the neighborhood came in my garage. And he said, that's why. You know, not because of you, but because of the next generation. And they need to hear a young man preach. And so they see as a young man we can follow God as well. Amen. And he said that's what it's for, just to see all the young people in the house this morning. Amen. We are to give God some praise this morning. Amen. Let us stand to our feet and give God some praise. We got to stand anyway. We're having our faith affirmation, followed by our morning scripture reading this morning. Let us look to the screen and let us all read together our faith affirmation. It says, I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ that lives in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. And because of Christ's love, I too walk in love, as Christ also hath loved me and hath given himself for me. Let us remain standing for our scripture reading. Will be coming out of Matthew chapter 13. It's only 2 verses. You won't stand long. Verses 31 and 32. It's on the screen if you don't have it. And it says, another parable put he forth unto them, like to a grain of mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field. But when it was grown, it is the greatest amongst herbs, and becometh a tree, so that the birds of the air come and lounge in the branches thereof. Amen. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. Amen. Amen. Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you, Father, for allowing us, Lord, to see this day, Father God. Now, Lord, as me, Lord, standing in the need of prayer, Father God, Lord, I pray that I decrease and that you increase, Father God. And that your word go out, Father God, and touch hearts, Father, that someone may ask, what must they do to be saved, Lord? But that the word just turn them from their wicked ways, Father God. For you said, turn ye backsliders, for I have given you pastors according to my heart to feed you with knowledge and understanding, Lord. And Lord, Father, you said in your word, how can one hear without a preacher? How can one preach except he be sent, Father? So, Lord, Father, I pray, Lord, that you use me, Lord, that your word go out and penetrate hearts this morning, Father God, that someone may turn from their wicked ways, Father God, and ask what must they do to be saved, Lord, or that they have got lost, Lord, and ready to come back to the fold. It's in the name of Jesus I pray this morning. Amen. Amen. Just looking out and looking around, it goes against what the world say we have going on, amen? Because I don't know about you, but I see a lot of fathers in here.
Praise God.
That's coming with their kids and family, amen?
Amen.
And they say we're not there for family, amen? I guess you see my message on the screen, and this morning I'll be preaching to you about a seed of abundance. That's a seed of abundance. You see that little old seed? That little seed, the seed of abundance. How many of you know what that word abundance means? You know what that word abundance means? You better know what that means. That word means to have an overflowing of something. It's to have an extreme amount of plentifulness, or to have over sufficient quantity or supply. and it's having more than enough. You know, some people have abundance of money. Anybody have abundance of money in here? Oh man, what's going on? Some of us have, some people have. I don't have it either, but some people have the abundance of money. But this morning I'd like to speak to you about this little seed that's full of abundance.
All right.
You see, this little seed may not look like it has a lot going on. It looks so small, but it is full of abundance that you can't see. This little seed may be small in stature, but it has so much on the inside that's just waiting to come out. All it takes is to be planted in the right soil. All it takes is to be planted and watered in the right soil. Yeah. See, the planting on its own can't bring forth the abundance that's in it. It got to have some water in order for it to start being productive. Have anybody in here ever planted a seed and planted a flower or a pot? A plant, not a pot, but a plant, or a rose bush or anything like that. But when you first planted, it didn't look like much.
That's right.
You know, but as time went on, something started to happen. That little seed started to grow, and the next thing you know, fruit was produced.
That's right. That's right.
And not just one fruit, but multiple of fruits was produced. It all depends on what type of seed it is that you plant will determine the type of fruit that you get out.
That's right.
The type of food, the type of seed that you plant will determine the type of fruit that you get out. If you plant an orange tree seed, then oranges will come forth. If you plant an apple tree, then guess what? You're going to have a tree full of apples. If you plant a lemon tree, then when that harvest time comes, guess what? You're going to have a tree full of lemons. If you plant a fig tree, you're going to have a tree of figs. It's not going to give you oranges and apples and lemons all on the same tree. If you plant a rose bush, guess what? You're going to have a multiple of roses. And when you pluck one off, guess what? It grows some more. That's right. Because it's rooted to the foundation. The type of seed you plant will determine the fruit it bears. And I don't know about you, but I have yet to see an orange tree or a lemon tree bring forth roses. Because if something like that happens, something is wrong with that tree. God had said in the beginning, he said he had told the children of Israel, I planted you in the most fruitful vineyard. And he said, I put you in this root, in this richness of soil. And then he said, I took all the rocks from out the bed of the ground so that you can grow fruitfully. But then he said, when it came forth to bring forth fruit, you bore forth wild grapes. I didn't plant you to bring forth no wild grapes. So he said, because of that, you're no good. I'm going to cast you in the fire and throw you out. Because I didn't plant no grape, no wild grapes. I planted my olives. But you're bringing forth grapes. That's what happens when we plant these trees and seeds that we plant. We want the thing that we planted. That's right. You see, a couple of weeks ago, if you was here, I preached a message about the seed of a sower that's throwing seeds out there, and some of the seeds fell on the wayside. Some of the seeds fell on stony ground. Some of the seeds fell amongst the thorns. But some of the seeds, guess what? It fell on good soil. All of the seeds that fell on that soil was able to be removed because it didn't fall on no good root. But only the seed that fell on good soil was able to take root, and because it took root, it was able to bring forth fruit. The Bible says some 100-fold, some 60-fold, and some 30-fold. But the only way that was possible is because the seed landed where it was supposed to land. Now understand, there wasn't nothing wrong with the seed. It was just something wrong with where it landed. Let me say that again. There wasn't nothing wrong with the seed. It was just something wrong with the place where it fell. But there is abundance within the seed. It just has to be given a chance to come out. It has to have a chance. And in order for it to have a chance, it has to land on some good soil. Do I have anybody in here this morning that's some good soil?
Yes, sir.
Because see, the word of God is a seed, and there is nothing wrong with the word of God, but it's something wrong if it falls on someone that's on the wayside. There's something wrong if it falls on the road soil, if somebody there on amongst the thrones. There's something wrong if it falls on the stony ground, but when it falls on good soil, it's able to take root. That seed is the word of God that's able to take root in your life, and then you start to see the bearing of the fruit. But you got to make sure you are good soil.
Yes, sir.
You see, it's never given a fair chance if it's not on good soil. But when it falls on good soil, the word is heard only is it heard, but it's understood.
Thank you, Lord.
It's understood. Jesus said, he that receives seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word, and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit, and bringeth forth some an hundredfold, some 60, and 30. And when I looked at this verse, I'm reminded of Brother Peter when Jesus said, come, follow me, while Peter was fishing, and Peter dropped everything that he had. And Jesus said, I don't want you to be fishing out here. He said, I'm going to make you fishers of men. And he called old Peter out, and then when he talked to Peter a little later, he said, Peter, who do men say that I am? And Peter says, some say that you're Elijah. Some say that you're Jeremiah. He says, some say that you're just a prophet. So then Jesus said, hold on, okay, I know what they say, but I want to know, what do you say? Who do you say that I am? See, Jesus, he took it off of him and he made it personal unto Peter. And so Peter looked and said, thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. And you know what Jesus told him? Jesus said that no way you knew this except my Father, which is in heaven, revealed this to you. Now watch this. Jesus had been speaking and teaching, planting the seed of the gospel all around, and others missed it while Peter grabbed it. And today that same thing is happening. We preaching the gospel every Sunday. We walking and talking and out here preaching, but people don't want to hear it because it's falling on the wayside. It's falling on stony ground. But when it falls on good soil, you start seeing the production of the fruit. You start to see that seed have abundance in it. But when it falls, it has no chance if it falls on the wayside. Do I have anyone in here this morning missing it? You missing the word? Is it understood? Are you understanding? Well, there's nothing, there is not the flesh and blood that's revealing that to you. The Holy Spirit is working because he's choosing you. He wants you to hear it. He wants you to understand it. So that means God is revealing his word to you, and you ought to be excited. Jesus told Peter, flesh and blood didn't reveal this unto you, but my Father which is in heaven. And Jesus said, he told Peter, guess what? Upon this rock I will build my church, and guess what? The gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And I will give the keys of the kingdom of heaven. He said, I will give the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And our message this morning says the kingdom of heaven is like a grain of mustard seed. He said, I'm going to give the keys of heaven into thy hands. And it's the same Peter that later on in the book of Acts, when the Holy Spirit came amongst them on the day of Pentecost. And it filled the place and started. The Holy Spirit indwelled the believers. And Peter went out there and started preaching the gospel. He started planting seeds. And my Bible tells me that when he was preaching this gospel, 3,000 souls were saved. I'm talking about a seed of abundance that was planted in Peter, and when he went forth, the church started building. He said, upon this rock, I will build my church. And Peter's first sermon, he preached he saved 3,000 souls. 3,000 was added. And then the Bible says a little further, the same day he goes to jail and he heals a man that was lame, and guess what? 2,000 more came. He saved 5,000 souls in that one day. I'm talking about a seed of abundance. That seed that Jesus planted amongst his 12 disciples, the Bible tells us that it started turning the world upside down. Because they start preaching the gospel that nobody never heard before. They start bringing forth a seed that nobody ever seen grow before. See, we didn't know we see some all kind of things that's growing out there, but what if somebody presented something to you and said, this is a seed that nobody never seen before? It is good for eating. What do you call it? Here these 12 disciples come and preaching the gospel. They're preaching a whole nother message than what the Jews and the Pharisees and things were brought up on. And they were disturbed. So here it is. They were disturbed. It started, but when Jesus had touched Peter and he touched these 12 disciples and they start turning the world upside down, this little seed that started off real small, but the Jewish leaders didn't think it would be so much. They thought they could stop it before it spread. They locked the disciples up, but it kept on spreading. They tried to pump fear into their hearts, but guess what? It kept on spreading. They murdered some of those that was preaching, but guess what? It kept on spreading. They were beating those that believed, but guess what? The word kept on spreading. They brought forth false prophets and started teaching other things, but guess what? The word kept on spreading. They brought forth false teachers, and guess what? The word, it kept on spreading. They brought forth false doctrine and everything, but guess what? The word kept on spreading. They were scattered all around, but the word kept on spreading, and it kept on going and guess what? One day it reached you. It's that same word, that same seed that was planted thousands of years ago that now have reached you and I today. And because of that seed, we are walking in abundance. That one little seed that didn't look like much became greatest amongst the forest. That one little seed spread it like wildfire. Once the seed lands on good soil, it brings forth abundance. It brings forth abundance. You know, my mom gave me a plant one time, and she said, you gotta plant this in a pot. I don't want you to plant it in your yard. You know why? Because when you plant it, it's gonna spread like wildfire, and you might not be able to stop it. So you gotta be able to put it in a pot so that you're able to contain it so it can't go any further. But see, the word of God, you can't contain the word of God. It's meant to be spread. It's meant to be what? Fruitful and multiply. That was one of the first things he told us, to be fruitful and multiply. And we see the kids in here, we got some very fruitful individuals, right? Well, guess what? He wants us to be fruitful and multiply in the spiritual realm. He wants us to be able to bring others to the kingdom of God. It's the seed that Jesus planted is not meant to be contained. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is likened to a grain of mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field, which indeed is the least of all seeds. Be careful with how you look at those less fortunate. It's the least of all seeds, but when it's grown, it is the greatest amongst herbs and becoming a tree, so that the birds of the air come and lounge in the branches thereof. And like any seed, guess what? It takes time to grow.
Yes, it does.
The first thing is to make sure that the seed is planted on good soil. But just planting the seed isn't enough. You have to add water in order for that seed to attach itself to the earth and take root and start to grow. The word of God is that seed that's been planted in my Bible, and it tells me that one plants it, one water it, but it's God that adds the increase. And that's where we are here today. We talk about saving souls, one soul at a time. You should know how these chairs get full? Because we save one soul at a time. And you constantly just grow in the church, and before you know it, all the chairs are full. We know, right, even today we got about 10, 15 people that ain't here. So imagine if we keep on preaching and keep on teaching, we're saving one soul at a time. And one plants it, one water it, but only God can add the increase. You're not going to get the full development once the seed is planted. It takes some time. You're not going to all the way reach there. If I plant this seed right now, I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and have a lemon tree. My lemons it ain't time for them to be productive yet. It ain't time for my oranges to come forth. It ain't time for my apples to come. But I just planted the seed. It's going to take some time before it starts to grow. It got to take some water. It got to take some soil. It got to take some attachment and continuous nourishment for it to start to continue to grow. Then next thing you know, you're going to look out your window, you're going to see a humongous tree. And you're going to remember when you took that one little seed and planted it in the ground. That seed that's planted within you have to be constantly watered little by little, and you'll start to develop. You're not going to be a mature Christian already right off the top. It's going to take some time. See, Brother Paul had told us once, he said that he went to the Corinthians church and he told them, I feed you with milk because you're not ready for meat. He said, I have fed you with milk and not with meat because you were not able to handle the meat of the word that I had to start you off with milk. But once you truly have received the word of God and given your life to Christ, you are as a newborn babe. And y'all know these new babies, when they're born, we don't come out and give them no steak. You don't come out and start giving them bread. What do? We put them on milk. But that milk sustains the nutrients that that child needs in order for him to grow. And as the child is growing, his teeth start to break ground, and then you say, okay, now he can handle a little piece of this meat. And he get used to chewing on the meat. You keep on developing him, and then all of a sudden he's feeding himself one day. Well, we got to start new babes off on Christ. We can't have somebody come to Christ and expect them to go out there and just stop cussing right away. We can't have nobody come to Christ and expect them to stop drugs right away. We can't have people come give their life to Christ and expect them from being an alcoholic right when they give their life to Christ. It takes some water and it takes some development. It takes some word to penetrate the soul so that they can change their life. It's not just going to happen overnight. It's a seed of abundance that takes some planting, that takes some watering. It's the seed of the word of God that was planted into this guy Paul, who is this right here, going back and preaching to the Corinthians. And Saul, he was the worst of them. He said, I was the chiefest sinners. He was very zealous for the law. He was persecuting and killing Christians. If you mention Christ, man, he was going to want to take your head off. But then a seed was planted on Saul and to Saul on the road to Damascus. And he didn't change instantly, but that seed was planted. He was made blind. And then when he came to the man by the name of Ananias' house, when God told him, when Jesus told him to go, guess what? He said, remove Jesus removed them scales off his eyes, and he was able to see. And first thing he said is, baptize me. And now the very Paul that used to be persecuting Christians, guess what? He became a Christian. He became a Christian. Killing Christians, and now has become a Christian himself, preaching the gospel of Christ. You see, God is able to use our dirtiest moments and use them as fertilizer. Y'all know how you fertilize. You got to put some dirt on your grass in order to grow. God is able to use our dirtiest moments in order to fertilize us. Think about it. A seed that's planted, not only does it take water to grow, but it has to get in the dirt in order for it to grow. Now that dirt the seed is planted is, guess what? It's dirt to us. Right? It's dirt to us. Y'all know we don't eat no dirt. Let something fall on the ground for more than 3 seconds. See, I said more than 3 seconds. You're not going to eat it. You're going to throw it away because it's been on the ground and got a little dirty. You're going to throw that thing right in the trash. But don't you know some of the best things that's good for us come from the dirt? It comes from the soil and it cannot grow without it. Those vegetables we eat, guess what? It comes from the dirt. Those apples that we eat, guess what? It comes from the dirt. Those oranges that we eat, guess what? It comes from the dirt. Those lemons that we eat, guess what? It comes from the dirt. Those beans that we eat, guess what? It comes from the dirt. Those potatoes that we eat, it comes from the dirt. That corn that we eat, it comes from the dirt. That grapes that we eat, it comes from the dirt. And the dirt is a very important thing that enables it to grow. Without the dirt, there is no growth. You will never be fruitful. All I'm trying to say is we need some dirt in our lives in order to grow. We need some dirt in our lives in order to grow. God used the dirt when he created us, and now the dirt that's in our lives is there to help us grow. Isaiah said it best. He said, but we are all as an unclean thing, and all our righteousnesses, not righteousness, but righteousnesses are as filthy rags. We are dirty and filthy. But who in here would agree that it's in our dirtiest moment that we start to grow? It's in our dirtiest moment that we start to grow. It's that dirty moment that you finally wake up and say, man, I got to start living a different way. I got to turn my life around. That dirt will help wake you up. Do I have any witnesses in here that God had called out of darkness into his marvelous light? He called you out of darkness. He called you out of the dirtiness, and he then cleaned you up. That's why when people all messed up, we ought not to look down on them, because there are some people that's so messed up that others then gave up on them. They ain't going to never change. They're not going to mount up to be anything. But guess what? God has seen that you are rich, good soil. There's some rich, good soil just waiting on the right seed to be planted in them. So we can't look down on them. Maybe they ain't got the right seed in them yet, but we ought to be the one to go give them that seed, and somebody else come around and water that seed, and then God will start developing them and adding the increase. And guess what? Later, sooner or later, you'll look at them and they're going to be a whole changed man. They're going to have a metamorphosis change. You know how a caterpillar is a caterpillar at first, and all of a sudden he becomes a butterfly flying away, never to be a caterpillar again? Well, that's how you is as a child of God. When you come to Christ, guess what? You all messed up. You that little caterpillar at first, you're crawling on your belly, but when the word get in you and you start developing, you become that butterfly and you fly everywhere. I'm talking about a seed of abundance. I'm talking about a seed of abundance. That little seed that grew into a tree like that. A seed of abundance. Once the seed of God is planted in them, and it begins to get watered, it starts to penetrate their soul and slowly begins to clean them up. And the next thing you know, they don't do the things they used to do. They don't talk the way they used to talk. The hate that was in their heart has been replaced with love. that disturbance and that confusion that was in their heart had been replaced with peace. That the sadness that was in their heart had been replaced with joy. That pride that was in their heart had been replaced with meekness. That violence that was in their heart, that's what had been replaced with gentleness. That defiant attitude that was in their heart had been replaced with long suffering. That faulty person that you used to know, that's what had been replaced with goodness. The fear that was in their heart was replaced with fear. That short temper that they once had has now been replaced with temperance. Because why? The fruit of the Spirit is love, hope, joy, peace, meekness, temperance, happiness, goodness, gentleness, faith. The fruit of the Spirit, that one little seed, once it's planted in you, it's going to bring forth all those type of fruits. He said that's the fruit of the Spirit. Remember I said an orange tree can't bring forth lemons and figs and nothing that it ain't planted of. It can't bring forth apples and grapes because it's a lemon tree. Well, in the seed of God, in the word of God, you got fruits in you. You got a fruit of love. You got a joy. You got peace. All these things is coming out of you. That's abundance. And now that seed that's been planted has grown into a full-grown tree full of branches that the birds of the air have the place to come and lounge thereof. You'll ever wake up and see birds flying around and landing in your tree? Those birds are tired. They've been flying for some miles and they just happen to find your tree and they want to build a nest on your tree for a place to rest. Because that tree was once a little seed. That tree was once a little seed. Well, as a child of God, there's going to come a time when those in the world are tired and in need of a place of rest. And you might have to give them some clothes for their back. You might have to give them some food to eat. You might have to give them a place to lay their head. You might have to give them some financial support to help them in time of need. You might have to give them that place to lay their head. You might have to be that comfort zone where they come to so you can help comfort them and console them. But you wouldn't have been there had that seed never been planted in you. The only way you got it to give is because of the seed that was planted in your life that blessed you with the abundance to give. It doesn't have to be money that you're giving. We give of our heart. We give of our love. We give of our time because God planted a seed in us and now we're able to share. You know, years ago, some of you already know, but 15, 16 years ago, I planted a little seed in the city of Fremont of KJ's. And don't you know today how big the shops are? It became a branch for many people to provide for their families. Today there's 8 locations, and even in this place today we have about 6 barbers right here in this place. All from one seed being planted. And that's the physical realm of things. We're able to provide for our families and grow the business, but at the same time, look what's happening. They're in the house of God. Because we're not only being physical, but we want to be spiritually. They're in the house of God. One seed planted, but much growth. And there's no greater example of love shown except that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Jesus is the word of God that was planted. He was planted here on earth. He's that seed that was planted here on earth. And just like any other seed, the seed has to die. Jesus said in the book of John, except this corn of wheat dies, it cannot bring forth its fruit. That corn of wheat must die first and be buried in order for it to start bringing forth its fruit. Well, Jesus said, I come to die on the cross for yours and my sins. Jesus died on the cross that you and I can live with him eternally. He said that if I be lifted up, I'll draw all men unto me. When that seed is planted in the ground, that's a symbol of it coming out of the ground and being lifted up. Well, when Christ died, 3 days later, he rose and he lifted up. And he said, if I be lifted up, I'll draw all men unto me. Because he was lifted up, guess what? He drew me to him. Because he was lifted up, he drew Reverend Flag to him. Because he was lifted up, he drew Brother Rozier to him. Because he was lifted up, he drew Brother Jones to him. Because he was lifted up, he drew Sister Cannon to him. Why? Because he was lifted up. And it's because he was lifted up, he's still drawing those that lost today. I'm talking about a seed that was planted over 2,000 years ago. It's still drawing people to Christ. It's still growing the kingdom of God. But at the at the same time, the enemy is come to kill, steal, and destroy. But Jesus said, I come that you might have life, and that you might have life more abundantly. I have never seen the righteous forsaken or begging bread. Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Joshua told us that don't let this book of law depart from out of your mouth, but meditate on it day and night. Observe to do according to all that it says. And then that's what he said. Then thou shalt have good success, and thy way shall be prosperous. I'm talking about a seed of abundance. He said, then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. A seed of abundance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, in order for you to receive such abundance, you first got to give your life to Christ. You first got to surrender it all and give your life to Christ. You got to die. You got to die. Kill your old man. Kill that natural man. You got to die. He said that he that find his life shall lose it. But he that lose his life for my sake shall find it. Paul said when the law came, sin was revealed and I died. Everything that I thought I was doing was wrong, but now that I know better, I do better. Don't mean I'm not going to make mistakes, because why? It was the same Paul that said, I go and do good, and then I do bad. The things I want to do, that I don't do. The things I should not do, that it is, that I do. He said, then why is it that every time I go to do good, evil is present with me? He said, I didn't realize that it's no more I that do it, but sin that dwells in me. So don't let your falls or don't let your mistakes keep you from coming to Christ. Amen. You come to Christ and you give your life to Christ and you say, Lord, I surrender it all. I'm done. Yeah. And it doesn't mean you're going to leave out of here and be perfect. Right. You're going to leave out of here and you're going to mess up today. But guess what? You've been saved. You have salvation because you gave your life to Christ. Little becomes much when you place it in the master's hand. A seed of abundance. Little becomes much when you place it in the master's hand. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the way of the ungodly, nor standeth in the seat of the scornful, but his delights is in the law of the Lord. When he meditate both day and night, that he shall be planted like a tree by a river of water. His leaves shall not wither. Whatever he touch shall prosper. I'm 39 years old. I gave my life totally over when I was about 23, and being in barber college and going through the transition and still messing up and doing things.